The town of Talkeetna, Alaska, elected a cat as mayor. He served for 20 years. That's Alaska. Most people picture ice, snow, and not much else. The reality is stranger. In summer, the sun doesn't set for months. In winter, it doesn't rise. Moose walk through downtown Anchorage. Traffic stops. People wait. State law prohibits waking a sleeping moose to take a photograph. Juneau is the only American state capital you cannot reach by road. Every resident receives an annual payment from the state just for living there. This is Alaska, and there's a lot more to explain. Starting with the size. Alaska's scale is difficult to comprehend. On most maps, Alaska appears as a small insert in the corner, shrunken to fit. This is misleading. At true scale, Alaska covers more area than Texas, California, and Montana combined. If Alaska were its own country, it would rank 18th in the world by land area. Larger than Iran. Larger than Mongolia. The state contains over 3 million lakes, more than the rest of the United States combined. 100,000 glaciers, 17 of the 20 highest peaks in the United States. More coastline than all other U.S. states combined, 34,000 miles of it. And yet, population, 730,000. Fewer people than San Francisco. Average population density, 1 person per square mile. In New Jersey, that number is over 1,000. Driving across Alaska east to west would take longer than driving from New York to Los Angeles. The Aleutian Islands cross the international dateline. Technically, Alaska contains both the westernmost and easternmost points of the United States. From certain islands, Russia is visible. 2.5 miles away, Cold War enemies within sight of each other. This was once Russian territory. America bought it for less than 2 cents per acre. At the time, people called it a terrible mistake. 1867. The United States had just ended a civil war. The country was broke, divided, and exhausted. Secretary of State William Seward had an idea. Russia wanted to sell its American territory. Seward wanted to buy it. Russia had problems of its own. The territory was expensive to maintain, difficult to defend, and far from Moscow. They needed cash. The negotiation happened quickly. March 30th, 1867. 4 in the morning. Seward signed the treaty in his living room. Price, $7.2 million. Adjusted for inflation, approximately $150 million today. For 586,000 square miles. The American public was not impressed. Newspapers called it Seward's Folly, Seward's Icebox, a polar bear garden. Critics asked, why buy a frozen wasteland? What possible use could it have? The nation had enough land already. Seward's argument was strategic. Keep European powers away from North America. Expand American presence in the Pacific. For 30 years, the critics seemed right. Alaska produced little revenue. Few settlers came. The territory sat mostly ignored. Then, 1896. Gold discovered in the Klondike. The rush began. 100,000 prospectors headed north. Gold was just the beginning. Oil discovered at Prudhoe Bay in 1968, one of the largest oil fields in North American history. Total value extracted from Alaska since 1867. Hundreds of billions of dollars. Seward's $7 million investment paid off. The critics were wrong. Alaska's geography creates conditions found almost nowhere else on Earth. The extremes begin with the sun. In Barrow, the northernmost city in the United States, the sun rises in May. It does not set again until August. 84 days of continuous daylight. Alaskans adapt. Blackout curtains become essential. Children play outside at midnight. Barbecues happen at 2 in the morning. Then winter arrives. The same town experiences 67 days of polar night. The sun sets in November and does not rise until January. Temperatures in winter drop below -40 degrees. At that temperature, Fahrenheit and Celsius are the same number. Both scales agree it is extremely cold. Boiling water thrown into the air freezes before hitting the ground. It explodes into a cloud of ice crystals. Alaskans do this for fun, but Alaska is not frozen everywhere. Summer temperatures in Fairbanks can reach 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The same state has both extremes. The ground itself is unstable. Alaska experiences more earthquakes than the other 49 states combined. over 1,000 per month. In 1964, the Good Friday earthquake struck. Magnitude 9.2. The most powerful earthquake ever recorded in North American history. The shaking lasted 4 minutes. Streets dropped 30 feet. The tsunami that followed reached as far as California. Alaska also has volcanoes. Over 130 of them. 40 are considered active. Eruptions happen regularly. The northern lights are visible over 200 nights per year in some areas. The sky turns green, purple, pink. It moves like a living thing. Glaciers cover 5% of the state. Some are advancing. Most are retreating. The landscape changes visibly within a human lifetime. Living here requires accepting that nature is in charge. Humans adapt to the land. The land does not adapt to humans. Alaska has more wildlife than people. In some areas, significantly more. The ratio of bears to humans in certain regions approaches 1 to 1. Brown bears grow to over 1,000 pounds. They eat salmon, berries, and occasionally garbage. Unsecured trash attracts them to residential areas. Residents learn bear protocols. Make noise while hiking. Never run. Carry bear spray. Store food in bear-proof containers. Moose are more dangerous than bears. They injure more people annually. Unlike bears, moose live in cities. They do not avoid humans. A mother moose with calves will charge without warning. They kick with their front legs. The impact can be fatal. Bald eagles are everywhere. In the continental United States, they are rare and protected. In Alaska, they dig through dumpsters like seagulls. In some fishing towns, eagles gather by the hundreds. They wait for fish processing scraps. The national bird in Alaska is a scavenger. Salmon runs bring wildlife together. Bears, eagles, and humans all compete for the same fish. Rivers become crowded during spawning season. Wolves remain wild in Alaska. Packs hunt caribou across the tundra. They rarely approach humans, but their presence shapes the ecosystem. Caribou migrate in herds of tens of thousands. The porcupine herd numbers over 200,000 animals. Their migration is one of the longest of any land mammal. Then there are the mosquitoes. Alaska mosquitoes are large, aggressive, and relentless. Locals joke they are the unofficial state bird. In peak season, the swarms are so thick they can suffocate caribou calves. Workers in remote areas wear head nets and multiple layers despite summer heat. The wildlife keeps Alaska wild. It cannot be tamed, only respected. Residents understand they share the land with animals that were here first. In Alaska, the food chain is visible. Predators and prey move through daily life. This is not a zoo. The animals are not behind glass. Alaska's unusual conditions have produced unusual laws. Most exist because someone, at some point, did something that made the law necessary. It is illegal to wake a sleeping moose to take its photograph. This law exists because tourists kept doing exactly that. The moose did not appreciate it. It is illegal to push a moose out of a moving airplane. The law does not specify why this needed to be written. Someone apparently tried. In Fairbanks, it is illegal to give alcohol to a moose. This became law after bar owners discovered moose will drink beer and then become unpredictable. It is legal to shoot bears, but it is illegal to wake a bear to take its photograph. The pattern suggests photographers have caused problems. In some municipalities, slingshots require permits, but firearms do not. The logic, a rifle has legitimate uses. A slingshot in town suggests mischief. In 2014, Alaska became one of the first states to legalize recreational marijuana. The reasoning, personal freedom, limited government. However, over 100 Alaska Native villages have banned alcohol entirely. These are sovereign decisions. Enforcement is strict. Bootlegging carries serious penalties. Building codes in permafrost regions require homes to be elevated. If a heated building sits on frozen ground, the ground thaws. The building sinks. There is no state income tax, no state sales tax. Alaska is one of the few states where the government pays residents rather than the reverse. Most Alaska laws make sense once context is understood. Moose laws exist because of moose. Bear laws exist because of bears. The state legislates reality. The laws reveal something deeper about Alaska. This is a place where nature forces adaptation. Rules are written by experience, not theory. Juneau is the capital of Alaska. It is also the only American state capital that cannot be reached by road. No highway connects it to anywhere. To reach the capital, residents fly or take a ferry, a 7-hour boat ride, or a 45-minute flight. Those are the only options. 80% of Alaska communities have no road access at all. Villages are connected by air, water, or nothing. Some are completely isolated in winter. Bush pilots are essential to Alaska. They deliver mail, supplies, medicine. They transport people to hospitals. In remote areas, a pilot is a lifeline. Bush pilots land on beaches, frozen lakes, gravel bars, and glacier surfaces. Runways are luxuries. Flat ground is the only requirement. Alaska has 6 times more pilots per capita than the rest of the United States. 1 in 58 residents holds a pilot's license. Flying is a practical skill, not a hobby. Some villages receive mail once per month. When weather permits, a storm can delay delivery for weeks. Residents plan accordingly. Grocery prices in remote villages can be triple the national average. A gallon of milk costs $10. Everything arrives by plane, and planes are expensive. The Iditarod Trail sled dog race covers nearly 1,000 miles, from Anchorage to Nome, in winter conditions. The race takes 8 to 15 days. Before airplanes, dog sleds were the primary winter transportation. They remain practical in some areas. Snow machines are common, but dogs do not need fuel. In summer, rivers become highways. Boats replace cars. Entire communities move and trade along waterways that freeze solid in winter. Transportation in Alaska requires creativity. The land does not accommodate easy travel. Alaskans build systems that work with the geography, not against it. Every year, the state of Alaska writes a check to every resident, man, woman, and child, for simply living there. This is not a myth, it is policy. The program is called the Permanent Fund Dividend. It began in 1982. The concept was simple. Alaska's oil belongs to Alaskans. When oil companies extract oil from Alaska, they pay royalties to the state. A portion of that money goes into a savings account, the Permanent Fund. The fund is invested globally. Stocks, bonds, real estate. It has grown to over $65 billion, one of the largest sovereign wealth funds in the United States. Each year, a portion of the investment earnings is distributed equally to all residents. The amount varies. Some years over $2,000 per person. A family of 5 receives over $10,000 in a good year. For many rural families, this is significant income. It arrives every October. The dividend creates unusual economics. Children accumulate funds from birth. An 18-year-old who saved every dividend could have over $30,000. To qualify, you must be a resident for 1 full calendar year. You must intend to remain. The state verifies residency carefully. Fraud is prosecuted. The dividend is controversial. Some argue it should fund government services instead. Others consider it a sacred right. Political debates about the dividend are intense. Oil production is declining. The fund's future depends on investment returns rather than new oil revenue. The math is changing. For now, the checks continue. Every October, Alaskans receive their share of the state's wealth, a direct payment from the land to its people. No other American state does this. Alaska alone treats its natural resources as belonging to all its citizens equally. The dividend makes the philosophy tangible. Alaska is beautiful. It is also difficult. The same isolation that creates freedom creates hardship. Living here has costs that do not appear on paper. Winter darkness affects mental health. 67 days without sun changes brain chemistry. Seasonal depression rates in Alaska are among the highest in the nation. Remote villages have limited mental health services. The nearest therapist may be hundreds of miles away. Accessible only by plane, weather permitting. Alcohol abuse rates are high. Some communities have banned it entirely, but bootlegging persists. Addiction and isolation reinforce each other. Alaska has the highest rate of missing persons per capita in the United States. The wilderness is vast. Searches are difficult. Many are never found. Dangerous jobs are common. Fishing, logging, mining, flying. Alaska consistently ranks among the states with the highest workplace fatality rates. Crab fishing in the Bering Sea is among the most dangerous jobs in the world. Waves, ice, exhaustion. Fatality rates far exceed most occupations. Bush plane crashes occur regularly. Weather changes fast. Terrain is unforgiving. Pilots and passengers accept risk as part of transportation. Healthcare in remote areas is basic. Serious conditions require evacuation to Anchorage. Medical flights are expensive, insurance often insufficient. Climate change is visible here. Permafrost thaws. Coastlines erode. Some villages are relocating entirely. The land their ancestors lived on is disappearing. People still choose to live here. They weigh the costs and decide the trade-offs are worth it. Alaska selects for a certain type of resilience. The darkness makes the light more valuable. The hardship makes the community stronger. Alaskans understand both sides of where they live. Alaska resists simple description. It is too large, too varied, too extreme. Every generalization has an exception. The state where a cat can be mayor, where the sun forgets to set, where the government pays you to live there, where moose have more rights than photographers, where the capital has no roads, where neighbors are measured in air miles. It is a place that demands adaptation. The land sets the terms. Humans negotiate their existence within those terms. The people who stay are not escaping something. They are choosing something, a life where nature remains in charge. Seward bought this land for 2 cents an acre. The critics called it worthless. The land has proven them wrong in ways they could not imagine. Alaska remains America's last frontier. Not as mythology, as fact. The wildness is real. The space is real. The strangeness is real. It is weirder than most people think, and more beautiful and more difficult. All of those things together, inseparable. That is Alaska. Now you know a little more about it than you did before. More stories like this on the channel. Subscribe if you want to see them. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments.